Okay, here we are once again, kids.
Back.
Good
We're
morning.
back
Good
again. Good
morning.
morning. Everybody say your good mornings, please.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good
Good
morning. And let me just remind everyone who's watching where we are and who we are. So we are in the state of New Jersey. You are where you are, but we are all sharing this country and this planet. We are a part of the Milky Way. This is how I'm getting people oriented in the same universe. So we do have plenty in common. It is an overcast day here in northern New Jersey,
Yeah.
but we need a little rain because rain will make the flowers grow.
I
All
don't mind a
right.
little rain.
You want a little rain, right?
Oh, it's a couple of rainy days too.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need it. In the western United States, apparently it's very dry.
Yeah.
Don't need too much of that. So let's get into what we're going to talk about today. Last time when we left off, we had a fascinating conversation, I thought, last time. Does everyone agree?
Yes.
And last time we kind of touched on the subject of suffering. And everyone has experienced suffering, and we were going to speak about that. And then Jackie surprised me, and she said, "No. What we're talking about today is being stuck. How do you get unstuck when you're stuck?" And then in my mind, I try to go from, well, how do we discuss suffering and being stuck at the same time? So, does anyone see a connection there between suffering and being stuck?
Of course.
Okay, what's the connection to you, Jackie?
It's just another roadblock. So I mean, you could be, from getting yourself back on track into reality, getting something situated, whatever it is that you're going to do. I'm sorry, my son is singing while he brushes his teeth. Sorry. In general, I mean, I just feel like when you're unstable, anything can stop you. So it could be you be suffering from pain, from loss, from frustration, being disappointment. They all could fall into that category of suffering and could stop you from doing what is best for you.
Jen, how does suffering stop a person? If anything, suffering should make a person want to try harder, should make a person, want to get unstuck.
Theoretically, it should, right? But if you're suffering, your energy is kind of like, and it sticks you in that space. So, there are great tools to get you unstuck. I was writing a paper when I was at work one year, not here, and I couldn't write. And I said something about I have writer's block. And one of my coworkers said, write that down. So I wrote, I have writer's block. And they're like, no, you don't. And then I went, oh, I have a creativity block. So they said, write that in a different way. And I wrote it in different words. And they're like, yeah, you don't have a creativity block. And I went, it was a mental thing. I just didn't want to do it. So once I realized exactly what that thing did, I was like, tricky.
Was your stuckness then? Are you saying it was the decision that you made at some level?
So we decide to stay stuck. We keep ourselves stuck, decide to unstick ourselves. So the responsibility for where we are in life is on our own shoulders.
Always. Isn't that always the case?
Always, every situation.
Trisha, do you find yourself getting stuck once in a while? And if so, how do you get out of it?
I do. And I was in a little bit of a stuck place recently. I was kind of not really feeling so great and kind of pushed back on, moving forward and getting myself back into where I want to be. So I woke up yesterday and made the decision that today will be the day. And I started program and pulled myself out of where I was.
Got it. And what is it that took that? Was it as simple as just making the decision that today is the day?
I went to an event on Saturday night and I thought I looked really great and I felt good. But then I saw a picture of what I looked like and I felt like, oh, that's not where I want to be. Like I felt like I was stuck and I was comfortable stuck. So, but now I saw that and I do not want to be that. So that pulled me out of it Sunday morning.
So that brings us back to suffering. And this is where we make our connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times people are in fact suffering. And the problem is that we tend to minimize our current suffering and maximize the suffering that's going to come about from when we do something about it. Right? We know we can handle the suffering that we're currently experiencing. And for some reason in our head, okay, good. So I'm fat. I'm not completely happy with myself. My energy sucks. Like all that's going on, but it's been going on for a while. So it's okay.
Yeah.
But the idea of then having to get on a program, to do a regimen, to not having cream in your coffee, somehow we anticipate the suffering of that being worse than the suffering that we're experiencing.
Yeah.
Right.
How bizarre is that?
It's strange.
Yeah, that was actually my because it was a fake because of why I couldn't get back to where I was, because I didn't want to give up cream in my coffee.
Which doesn't sound like it would be a big thing, but somewhere in your mind it's deprivation and it's suffering. Who is Joe B. Pops?
Joe.
Joe, what's up, Joe?
Hi, Joe.
He likes to watch.
Good morning.
Good
He
morning.
mentions on several occasions that, it's hard for me because I'm the sane one and I'm surrounded by, all of these insane people and I have to try to keep things on track. So I understand that, Joe. Thank you. Yeah, he never said that.
I'm sure he didn't say that.
Corinne, what about you? So we all talk about, doing a program. We're coming out of this pandemic. I think we're out of it, but still mentally, some people are still in it. They're kind of like, there are still Japanese soldiers in caves that don't realize that World War II is over. So everyone wants to do better. And not only that, but we're coming out of the summer and everyone's going to be going back to school. And we're going to be revealing ourselves once more. So is that enough of an impetus for you, the fact that people are going to see you, or is there some further suffering that you need?
No, I mean, I think Jen actually said it right to me the other day, and it kind of resonated with me, which is like, you make the decision to cook yourself food, right? So why not just cook yourself the right foods as opposed to, just continuing on the path that you're at. And I do find that, it's kind of like what you said before, like, oh, well, you think you're going to suffer from, watching what you eat. But the truth of the matter is, and I say this while I'm in the middle of a program or I'm in the middle of eating really well, you actually feel better and your mind feels clearer when you're eating appropriately, as opposed to now, I just feel tired and sluggish and in a fog. And I'm looking forward to being able to have time for myself again and put myself back on track.
And that brings us back to decisions, right? Have you ever noticed that if you're in kind of a sugar funk, if you're toxic, if you're feeling tired, the decisions tend to suffer. You tend to make decisions based on what's easiest, not based on what's best. And
Correct.
Of course, as we know, what's easiest is not always what's easiest. It's what's easiest in that very moment. Is that right, Jen?
Absolutely.
100%.
That's it. Just okay, good.
Well, there's a lot to go, but it's true that it's very
information.
But like you said, you brought it back to a decision where I feel like it's more or less like my sense of unstuck is also overwhelmed. Because now it's like, so it's a little different now that it's like, oh, we're craving that routine again. Kids are getting ready to go back to school, getting back to basics, back to reality. Like, okay, what fall is coming. Okay, summer's over. So why do anything about it now? Let's just wait till September. But then again, I have so much going on. And then this is busy. And September is really more like October. And then boom, all of a sudden it's Thanksgiving. And it's like, oh, all of a sudden it's overwhelmed. Your calendar went from being, lounge like happy, fun plans with no restrictions. And now it's like, oh, am I ready to do that? It's almost like a security blanket, the overwhelm, because you feel like, oh, well, there's still 2 more weeks. So maybe I could start a little bit on my own and I'll be a little bit better now, and it's a mental game.
Wait, are you saying that the overwhelm is a warmer, more comfortable place to be than the whelm would be?
Not comfortable place, but it's definitely a place where it's easier to settle.
Well, comfortable in that it's something you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the thing, not even that's something everybody at some point in their life is going to be busy with something, whether it be holidays, events, engagements, work, at the time of year. There's always that time for somebody along life. There's never anybody that just has, there's very few, I should say, that just never have a hectic or busy schedule or responsibilities to tend to. And they always tend to put themselves on the back burner. Like, for me, myself, I'm like, there's only really two reasons, which I've shared with Jen, why I wasn't ready to get back on program. And honestly, the overwhelm has been checked off. So that's not it anymore. So now I'm like, now that Trisha saying this, I'm like, I have drops. I think I'm just going to go take my drops and start loading right now.
Well, I want to suggest something, though, because we're talking about decisions, and yes, decisions have power. Right? When somebody makes a decision, and I don't mean a half-assed decision, I mean they say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it now, and they put some oomph behind that, right? Then that has a lot of power. That can take you through a lot of different barriers.
Right.
But there are also the hidden decisions, the decisions that we're unaware of, right? Like, the it's not possible. The I can'ts, when you're in that state of mind where you're looking for reasons why not instead of why. So Jen, you're shaking your head. What is brought to mind when I say that? Those hidden decisions, the ones that we're not aware of.
So between what you and Jackie were saying, were you happy with my 100% one word answer before? Because I got so
I was kind of happy with it. I was just a little shocked. Yeah.
Be unshocked now because
She was filtering.
So, yeah. So first of
all,
you're
going to make up for it now? Is that what you're saying?
I'm so going to make up for it.
Okay, go.
Your seatbelts. So first of all, the key word and all the power comes from decision. Everything. So, some of us like a lot of chaos in our lives, randomity. Some of us like less chaos, lower randomity. But we create that. So
randomity is a state where things are kind of moving and chaotic and not ordered.
It's just another word for, and listen, we'd be bored to death if there wasn't a little bit of, randomity going on. So shelve that. There will always be another event. There will always be there's never the right time to start a diet plan, to get divorced, to make a marriage better, to clean up your house. No matter what it is, from big to small, there's never a good time. The time to start is now. Just jump in, make the decision, jump in. Now, that being said, we have to have the ability to confront, to look at whatever's going on. You have to find what your pain point is. And, look at it and say, why am I pushing XYZ away? And then look at the things that you're creating, pulling in. We do that. We all do that. Fill up the schedule. I've got an event. I didn't cook. I'm on the go. I forgot my meals. We do that to avoid doing the things that we don't want to do, that make us uncomfortable, that keep us in, what was that you said before? Suffering, right? What's the word? But the reality is, if we put the responsibility back on our shoulders, then we understand that we control every bit of our own domain.
Right.
So,
and there's a couple of other factors, though, that come into play. And the one is lies. We are so skilled at lying to ourselves, right? And that's what these hidden decisions are. If we make a decision that is kind of below our conscious awareness, which we do all the time, again, about what we're capable of, about what's possible, about how much time we have, then those decisions are lies. We're lying to ourselves. We're pretending we don't know, just like your kid will do to you, right? Oh, I didn't know I have to clean up my room. It's the same thing. Oh, I didn't know that I could actually, do a program now, even though school is going to be starting again too. Same idea. We've made that decision and we've placed it in a box under the level of our conscious awareness.
Can I give a quick shout out? I'm sorry.
Shout out?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're done.
Shout out, shout away.
So, you know,
In fact,
when you-
everyone shout simultaneously.
so when you said about events and, you know, and school starting, one of our clients, Mary, has had bridal showers, like several of them in a row. And she asked how to, and my, you know, pack ahead, bring things with you, eat a little bit before so you're not hungry. And she went to those events fully prepared, and has crushed it, is crushing it, because she decided
Wow.
to work within.
She just
she's
commented.
actually with us right now. How
Mary!
timely.
Oh my God, that's so crazy. It is you.
Oh, look how pretty her profile picture
Oh
looks.
my God, she looks so good. I'm going to cry now. You look so amazing. Like your face is, oh God. There's my win for the day. Mary, you're my win.
No, but it's
that?
true. Like once you make that decision to commit, so the first time, so when I did program the first time when I jumped in, it was before the holidays. So and it happened to be around the time that, and we had a lot of clients coming like, oh, well, I can't start now. It's a holiday. I'm Italian. I eat pasta, and I'm like, oh, okay. And it's like I can't do this. Somebody came in who said, I forgot she goes, Auntie, and she goes, everything I eat is rice, and I'm like, it's like everything was a no, and here I am. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it's melting. Every day I was getting on the scale, and I was like, yes.
Yes.
I was like, it was another day. And then it became event after event, holiday after holiday. And I stuck through what I consider to be a very, very hard time because there's a lot going on. So like you're saying, scheduling. And I kind of just jumped right in because I felt so good right away, not realizing that I was just really enabling myself. You know, I was pushing through day to day where that cloudiness or my head being crazy, I chalked it up to everything else going on around me, not what I was doing to myself. So once I started to feel that and see the difference almost simultaneously, I was like, why would I not do this right now? Like
Right.
it was the clearest.
But listen to what you're saying though. So again, there's an anticipated suffering.
Yeah.
That anticipating suffering is more excruciating. The perception of it is more excruciating than your actual current suffering. And then there's a hidden decision. The decision is to avoid that anticipated suffering because it's going to be so horrendous. And we all know the story with the Justin Bieber show. So anticipated suffering is very rarely as bad as the actual events.
That's the worst thing that you can.
I don't want to. It's too traumatic. I don't want to go back to it. But there's another factor here, and this is one of the kindest things we could ever do for people. And this could be children. This could be if you're in a coaching relationship. One of the kindest things you could ever do is take time away from people. Time is such a confounding factor. The perception that we have an unlimited amount of time is such it causes more problems than almost anything else, right? Because we have time, we can suffer a little bit longer. Then all of a sudden, this is the beauty of events. When you have a wedding coming up, all of a sudden you don't have time. It's been sucked away. I want to suck away all the time from everyone, right?
There's no way to go back.
It's just a crazy perception. We don't have as much time as we think. Corinne, Trish, have you ever in your lives, be it with weight or be it with something else, avoided something because you perceived that you had a ton of time and then something occurred which said, no, I really don't have that much time anymore?
The answer is yes. I mean, I'm doing it right now,
yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
You're doing it regarding a program. Got it.
Well, yeah, and like you just said, like we have a wedding coming up October 22nd, and I keep saying to myself, and I have a dress that I really like that's actually in my house, and I'm like, oh, if I just hopped on program, I could wear that dress
Confidently.
Yeah. I'm like, if I just do it, I can wear it, and I would be so happy to put on that dress. And then I'm like, well, next week.
That's right.
Next week. So I'm avoiding it at the moment.
You have that perception that you have more time than you actually have. So let me ask you this. When well, I don't know how personal you want to get, but what suffering would you say you're doing at the moment? And how is the anticipated suffering worse than that?
The suffering that I'm doing at the moment is I'm not putting myself first. I'm putting everybody else first. And I am
Well,
not,
that's a story, but how are you
right, but I'm
suffering
not
right now?
because I feel terrible. Like right now, my shoulders right over here are utterly killing me. I feel like I'm foggy. I feel like I'm tired. I'm not doing anything to help myself,
Got it.
you know?
And how would it be, and what is the suffering that you're trying to avoid that would come from a program, and how is it worse?
Well, see, I don't think a program is worse. I just think I need to actually stop
Commit.
and
Well, there's some
commit,
aspect about
and I need
about
to
the
make
program.
time to do it.
Yeah, but
And I
hold
keep
on,
saying
hold
to
on,
myself,
hold on. There's some aspect about the program that you're trying to avoid. There's something that you're trying to put off, right?
yeah,
So there's
giving up
some
sweets.
perception. Okay, got it. So
I love my ice cream.
Okay, so giving that up, that at the current moment, how does that feel to you?
I don't want to do it.
That's right. You don't want to do it.
Yeah.
There's a certain perception of suffering there, and damn it, you're going to dig your heels in
Ugh, I'm doing it. All
until you don't.
right, I'm declaring it
Right.
right now. It's load day.
Yeah,
So-
it's like,
That's it. So guys, listen, I had a reason. I had a time constraint. I kept saying, Frank will be back in the new year. My husband's traveling. He'll be back in the new year. I've got all this time to get back in shape. We're going to talk about Jackie's favorite phrase, lights on, lights off.
Just
And then I
say
found
it.
out
Wait
that
till Frank comes home, Jen.
he may or may not be coming back for a surprise visit the end of October. And I'm like, so oh my God. So we look, listen, I needed to do it for myself anyway, because I was,
Absolutely.
having
It's
to-
always yourself first.
it's always myself first, because I, a lot of years not being with someone, I was still in good shape. But we do these lives every week, and I was looking at myself, and I'm like, I don't really love the way I look. Like my shoulders. So look back at last week's live, because I'm on 1 week on program. Look back at last week's live and see the difference. I'm looking now from last week to what I look like this week.
Mhm.
You guys should look at that. All of us, anybody who's out there. I'm not just pointing at anybody out. I'm saying everybody. Look at the difference in a week.
well,
Like,
we know the results are there to be had, right? It's the barriers that prevent us from reaching for it. Now, I want to get back to Corinne for a second. And Corinne, let me say this.
Oh,
Thank
no.
you. No. I'm thanking you. Thank you for being as candid as you're being. It might seem to someone, if they just turned in, that I'm picking on you.
No.
But I'm not. I'm using you as a classic example of what we all do. Let me suggest this. There is a lie going on here. There's probably several. It doesn't mean you're a liar as a person. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. But at least part of the lie is about this ice cream. What you're telling yourself is that the ice cream has control over you. You're saying that a little dairy and sugar has control over Corinne, the powerful being that you are. It is bullshit. You need to understand this.
And there it
Okay.
is.
And
There
you
it
need to take ownership of yourself, because right now you're owned by a cold clump of dairy and sugar.
I'm
Heavy
dreading
cream.
that ice cream.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
call it names.
That is where we are right now.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, so say low day, Corinne.
No. It's a decision
I'm not
that
ready
she
yet.
has to make.
Yeah.
It's a decision that she has to make, but we're putting it into perspective. Okay, this is the mechanics of what's happening, not only for her, right? But for people.
Yeah.
There are certain things we've made decisions. Some of them we know about, some of them we don't. Right? Some of the decisions are like, I cannot give up ice cream. I can't give up cream in my coffee. If I would do, it would be painful for me.
Yeah.
And we're ignoring the larger pain that's actually going on. And we're
Right.
telling ourselves again that we can't give up certain molecules that just happen to tickle our taste buds in exactly the right way. We need it, and we don't need it,
Right.
Mhm.
right?
No, and I think you're absolutely correct. And I think for myself, I feel like I cannot commit to saying, yes, I'm going to load, because I need to know that I have the appropriate time to plan and prepare and have the stuff in the house. So if I say to myself, this is how I am, like, I'm going to do this on this day, that's how I operate.
Yes.
And so I need to know that I have, if I'm going to do something, I need to know that I have the appropriate time to do it.
Sure.
Which is why I keep
Understood.
saying to myself, like, okay, like
Mhm.
the kids go back to school, and then I have like, like September 6th is like the day in my head that I'm going to start.
Corinne,
And
let
I've
me
said
ask you a
that.
question. If
Mhm.
I were going to give you $1 million to start next week, do you think you could create a little time?
Yeah, I'd be up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, maybe that's what it would take. Maybe something
know?
else. I don't know. Maybe it would take, your husband doing some of the tasks that you currently do, or teaching your kids how to do it. I don't know what the solution is,
Mhm.
right? But if we put that kind of an urgency by taking time away from you and incentivizing you enough,
Hmm.
then I don't have any doubt that you would manage. In other words, you can, no matter what you're telling
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, I can manage and I can do it.
Of course.
I'm just choosing not to is the best.
That's
Like, it's
Mm.
kind of
that,
like what everybody, like, I'm choosing not to.
right. Okay,
Right.
good. And that is absolutely your right. Now, sometimes we choose from possibility, and sometimes we choose from something else other than what's possible and other what we ultimately want, right? So
Mhm.
that's something for you to wrestle with. Like, what are you choosing from? What are the assumptions? What are the hidden decisions that you're choosing from? I don't want to beat that to death, but I do want to mention another factor that keeps us stuck, right? I talked about hidden decisions. Well, there's something else though, and that's us hiding. See, the only thing worse than suffering is suffering and having people know that you're suffering, right? So how much time and energy do we spend kind of pretending and creating facades and hiding, right? Does this ring a bell for anybody? Like, do people do this?
People do it. I know I don't. Like,
I don't. I know people who do.
I don't, like, for example, for myself, like, I know, like, if I go to the beach, let's just say, and all of my friends are wearing cover-ups, I'm like, I'm not wearing a cover-up, like, whatever, like, I'm not the weight I want to be, but I'm still going to wear my bathing suit and I'm still going to play in the water with my kids, and I'm not going to spend my time hiding. I'm going to spend my time on the beach, for example, making memories with my kids.
Got it. Okay, good. I mean, and that's one example of hiding, and of course there are others, right? Trish, what comes to mind when I say that?
I don't do that either. Like, I don't step away from events. I don't things like that won't keep me from doing, but I still don't
Bless
feel
you.
great. Internally I don't feel great, but I'll still do all the things.
Well, let me ask you a question though. Yes, there are different levels, right? So to the degree that we withdraw a bit, to the degree that we, choose certain outfits, put a shawl on over a dress. I mean, isn't that some version of hiding?
Yeah,
Yeah.
then that, I'll
Jack,
do
what were
that
you
kind
going
of
to say?
I agree.
We all do.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I catch myself. I'll still wear certain. I think my personal opinion, I dress appropriately. Where there's certain things that we've discussed this in the past, and we probably should talk about it again. Where social media marketing, all these companies, it's body positivity, where they put something out there in a larger size, or maybe a crop top with when they technically shouldn't be wearing it. Personally, I don't think those should ever be worn. That's just me. Regardless of how I look, it would be fabulous if I could just wear it anyway, but I won't. But it's one of those things that I catch myself doing where I'm like, oh, well, this just doesn't look right. But is it because it doesn't look right, or is it a confidence thing? Like I love everything that's in my closet, but that the free, like, oh, I have nothing to wear. Or like I just walk into my closet, I want to throw on a bodysuit and jeans, but I'm fixing myself. Is this too low? Is my stomach sticking out? It's not so much that I stop doing certain things, because again, I don't think I'm putting anything out there. But if I am a couple of pounds over or more, I catch myself. How many times are you adjusting yourself? So like Corinne's saying, at the beach, I may not have a cover up on the whole time, but how many times am I adjusting my bathing suit? Is it because it really needs to be adjusted, or is it because I am self-conscious of how it's fitting me, what's on me?
Well, Mary just said not letting someone take your picture. I was guilty of that. So that's another perfect example right there. And I must say something, I am a proud alumnus of Arizona State University. So I am a proud Sun Devil. And for those of you who don't know Arizona State, it is located in Tempe, Arizona. It is always warm. People don't wear as much clothes as they do in some other universities. I remember how shocked I was when I went to Rutgers, and, I didn't go there as a student, but I would go to visit friends, and people were all covered up, and people were heavy, and people were pasty. That did not exist at ASU.
Yeah.
I mean, right? People were not able to hide in the same way. The light was literally always on them. Everyone worked out. Everyone was tan. Everyone was beautiful. All right. So that's the advantage of not having that ability to hide as much. It does have an effect. Jen, you're shaking your head.
Well, I was thinking, if we're talking about weight loss, and body image, yeah, we all do our little tricks, like cute little swing dresses to avoid facing the fact that your jeans don't fit anymore. However, if we're talking on a global picture about things that we lie to ourselves about, I'm going to call bullshit on everybody, because we don't recognize that there are so many things that, that's just the one symptom of the bigger illness that we, compartmentalize, but there's so many things, and it's just symptomatic. So if we can up the ability to look at what's really bothering us and what we do to lie to cover those things up.
Oh yeah.
It's easier to apply it to the segmented things like weight loss or cleaning my house or organizing my bill drawer, whatever it is, whatever we do, we tell ourselves these stories about why we can't because we don't have time, and why we can't because we have an event. They're all lies. We're lie factories.
We're lie factories. We're all some version of George Costanza. That's what it comes to, right?
I am not eating food out of the garbage.
Yeah.
What did you say, Jack?
I said it's a matter of confront. I mean, the truth is, for the people that are lying to themselves,
everyone,
right? All of us to a certain extent, right? So even with us making an excuse, that's lying, because it's like, oh, there's an excuse. There's always there, and I've always said this, there's always an opportunity to do the right thing, no matter what it is. Right. There's always that chance, no matter how deep in you are or not. Like, there's always going to be that window of opportunity where you could turn things around. Yeah. And whether it comes to your health, or it's lying to yourself about the way you look or the way you feel or whatever it is, but you have to, it's the confront part of it. So, but we've become so good at lying to ourselves. Yeah. You start to believe yourself. Like, you start to make excuses about everybody.
I said this a few weeks ago, believing your own BS.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We all do this. And listen, in closing, here's what I want to suggest. I want everyone to imagine themselves living without having to lie at all, without having to hide at all, right? To just be able to live that authentically and that freely. I may have hit a nerve there with Corinne, but it's true for all of us. And again, I want to thank Corinne for being so candid and so willing to put herself out there. But imagine just living a life like that and making the decision to do that. How much more freeing would it be? How much more effective would we be? How much happier would we be?
Yeah.
Right. So I want to invite everyone to do that. Jen, last word.
Oh, so it's start with baby steps. like, because we all do it, and we do it because we can't face the bigger things. Like, everybody can handle the little things, but
Right.
start with baby steps. And give yourself some room
Grace.
to give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you can confront one thing, like I have these little things here that need to be thrown out. If I throw those out, it'll become easier to handle the next thing.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
obedient steps, and then you'll get to the bigger things.
Yeah.
But just start. Just start.
Just start.
Don't
So-
wait for the right time. Don't wait for the right day. Don't
Right.
wait for someone to do it with you. That's one thing that drives me nuts
That's
too.
hard. Yeah.
That's like I'm joking, saying I create a little day. The truth is, I don't need anybody else to do it alongside me either. I
That's
don't need
the
that motivation.
truth. Again,
Right.
that's truth. We have to see the truth behind
It's
the
really
line.
just doing it like for positivity, but
Yeah. Yeah, well, we have it built up in our minds that we need somebody else's power, and we
Yeah.
really don't. We have enough within us to follow the simple steps that it takes in order to follow the program, preferably our program, which is the best that exists. And we have all this support from my angels, and so we have the ability to do that. We just have to we have to wake up, stop hiding. Stop lying to ourselves, and not the overt lies only, but the hidden ones. Become
Yeah.
aware of that, and then we can do it. And on that note, we're gonna go, but we will see everyone next week. Hey, don't be afraid. Speaking of hiding and lying, don't be afraid to write things like Mary did today, like Joe did. Well, like, what did you get from this? Was this valuable for you? I mean, you're never going to find a more frank discussion about what's really going on for a lot of people. So please feel free to write whenever. We're hanging up, but you can still make comments. Oh, we can never end.
No, it's a Jerovic goodbye. But I have one
I
more
know.
thing that I meant to say it before, but I didn't want to interrupt Jen.
Yeah.
And it was a meme because I'm always looking for like good ones for inspo. And this relates. Missing out on temporary fun to build permanent stability is not a loss.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So in
All
other
right.
words, don't miss out.
Yeah.
Missing out right now on that ice cream because it's August doesn't mean that you're not going to be. You're not at a loss. You're gaining.
Gaining by
Right.
losing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm hanging up. Goodbye, people.
That was good.
Wait, Lisa
Goodbye.
Ginatasio just commented.
Bye.
Yeah,
How
I
much
know.
more?
Hi, Lisa. Love you, but we got to go.
How much more free could we all be to be true in our
Free to be you
our
and me.
word ends.
Goodbye, Jen. Say nothing.
No,
That was great.